I want to reach back out to you today. Today we're going to start talking about the journey. Things that we went through that were very changing in our lives. Today we're going to be very specific. We're going to be talking about some very explicit things. At times, language might get a little off color. We're going to try not to do that. So if language is a problem for you, you might not want to watch it. But generally, we keep things very clean. We want to talk to you about going back to the beginning, when I first started looking at building a business and becoming an entrepreneur and raising a family of 5 here where we currently are. You know, looking back, I didn't know anything about the business world. I had been in the military. I had worked in the business industry on trying to rebuild a cell phone company and built that and thought I knew what I was doing. I'd moved back to Michigan to originally help take care of my brother, who was a quadriplegic at the time. And we came back to kind of restructure. I was just newly married. I had some kids. We didn't have 2 pennies to scratch together. We were living in a basement, and we were wondering, what could we do? Well, things happened. We worked hard. We committed a lot of time to saying, you know what, we want to be self-employed. We want to be entrepreneurs, and we want to make a difference in people's lives. Not just in our daily routine, but in many areas of their life. We started getting active at church. We started being involved in ministry programs. Working in that, our life stretched in many different directions. And through some experiences, we looked at opening up our first business. That first business was challenging. I didn't know anything about the industry I was in. I'd gone into the insurance business, not knowing anything about it. I came into it the first couple years and I was becoming a top producer for a company I'd worked for. I just learned about what I was doing, went out and found people that I could help. And I was always taught that if you helped enough people become successful or get what they want, that you would fall into success eventually on your own. Well, I did, and things were going great. I was at a corporation, I was getting an office, I was their top agent, I was looking at getting a company car. And then a house of cards fell down. As I grew in that company, I realized very quick that I couldn't go any further because it was a privately owned company. And the volume of business that I started to produce as a young agent, the owners had problems with me not sharing my commissions and my revenues. So I was released. What did I do wrong? Why am I on my own? I had just gone from making $10,000 to $30,000 in 1 year to that very next year making $190,000. I'd never made that kind of money before. I didn't know what I was doing. I just helped a lot of people. $30,000 to $190,000, all in just a year's time. I was putting maybe 60 to 70 hours a weekend. I figured out how now to put only 30 hours a weekend. I was spending time with my family, and all of a sudden, it was pulled out from under me. We didn't know what to do. So we continued to figure out, how can we continue to be entrepreneurs? So we did. We spent a lot of time spiritually in our life looking for guidance, connecting with the right relationships. That's key. Being involved with business owners at my level and above that could help me emotionally, mentally, financially, figure out how to open up my own insurance company and still balance a family. Well, we did that. We found a small office, opened up a small office, made it look really nice, invested a bunch of money into it. We got marble floors and countertops and fireplaces, and we thought we were just going gangbusters, and we were. The first month on my own, we had created $80,000 in revenue, not having really any debt at all. We kept moving, we kept going, we kept figuring out how can we get better, creating strategic partnerships, getting involved in other organizations locally. And we kept moving and moving, and we kept sacrificing. Not really any time at home with my family, but the money was good. Paying cash for cars, paying cash for vacations, jewelry, country clubs. All those things were involved. Giving money out of my pocket You know, I remember somebody coming up to me one time that I knew that needed money, and I gave them $1,500 in cash right out of my pocket. Just because I thought, you know what, I'm invincible. There's nothing that I can't do, and life isn't going to attack me again. Well, we figured out as things happen along the way that tragedy happens, and things change. As that office was succeeding, we were hiring agents, people were growing, we were teaching, we had developed some things in business, and you know what? When we were on top as an agent, everybody really backed me. Marketing companies from out of state, marketing companies from in-state, local agencies, family and friends, they were all supporting me because I was on top. Everyone wanted to be a part of what I was doing locally. We were able to bring opportunity. But then money got distorted. It got involved in my life. And I got involved more in going to insurance conferences and getting involved in that lifestyle, and drinking became an issue because it was free. Smoking at times became an issue, and as I was spending more time away from my family, things became a crutch. You know, I felt more comfortable not being at home. The world decided where I needed to go. Somewhere along the way, things happened and my office fell apart. The industry changed, the agents changed, and the office fell apart. What we had sacrificed so much for, what I had put all my life's work into, simply fell apart. And I had looked at that sitting in my office while things were falling apart and everybody had left. I thought, what do I do to keep what I have? I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to go down by watching this fall apart. Well, we had some folks in our lives that kind of guided us as we looked at things. But I remember what happened to my family. We'd seen to be, things were going very well, but it all fell apart. Even though we had vacations and cars and money and alcohol and cigarettes and all these different fun things, going to church, leading ministry programs, leading local organizations, pulling Santa Claus floats and being all these things. We were out in the world, but it fell apart. I learned very quickly how to overcome some of the objectives and the obstacles along the way. And during that journey, I thought, for a quick moment, what's happening to the families right now, to the entrepreneurs that are dealing with these things that get knocked down and just stay down? They just quit. They just walk away and they just go home with their head between their legs and they suck their thumb and they say, I quit. The world told me I can't do it, so screw them all. I'm just going to go home and I'm going to say, would you like fries with that? And I'm going to quit. And I'm going to give up on my dream. I was still in my 30s. I was still young. Understanding most people, once they hit the age of about 35 to 40 years old, they stop. They quit. They're either in their job and they're happy with that and they've given up on all their dreams and they accept where they are. Well, if I would have accepted where I was, I would have had to have gone work at a local place and been broke the rest of my life. Guys, I tell you, there's a lot that we learned in there, and in that circle and just that experience, I understood that as I stood in my office, there's a term we used in the military to where we would stand in our own grave. My life around us appeared to be dying. And those people that were there in our life, most of them left. Most of them said, you're not successful anymore. And they moved on to the next person that was successful. Family members, close friends, business partners. Nobody understood what was happening. They just moved on to the next and to the next. As we get moving forward, we're going to talk to you about a lot of different things because I understood that my family and balancing that and not spending time with my kids and how to balance that and how to balance spending time with your spouse. Guys, if you're not spending time with your wife as an entrepreneur, that's your biggest support team. you also have to understand that they don't understand everything you're going through. There's no way they could possibly get what it felt like when I lost my office. When I sacrificed and gave everything I gave, they didn't understand, and you can't expect them to. So we're going to talk about how to get that support. I'm not telling you this to feel sorry for me or to watch my sob story or all these goofy things. There's a ton of things out there, but what we know is that there's people there that are looking for a way and someone that they can relate with to understand, how do I get through this? How does he understand how to help me? Well, as we keep moving forward along the way, we're going to talk to you about how you can deal with these many things. How to make sure your kids are felt that they're important. How to keep your business. And if you lose it, you're not the first person in the world to have that happen. And how to get back up. So guys, I tell you what, it's been a wonderful journey, and there's a lot along the way. Over the next 6 months, we're going to share a lot of things, and we're going to do things every day. We're going to be sharing experiences. At times my wife will jump on and share some things with us. Maybe even our kids at times are going to show what they've learned from this on being raised in an entrepreneurial family. Guys, it's not easy, but it is rewarding. And I know that if you follow our journey, and if you take time to share that, not just with yourselves, but with others, you're going to find value in it. So guys, hey, we look forward to sharing more with you. We look forward to one day working with you. And we know that in each side and every one of you, there's a successful person waiting. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.